Funding support for Presente is provided by Joseph and Elizabeth Walder Charitable Fund and generous Chicagoans like you.
Welcome to Presente, where we speak to leaders who are showing up for our community by actively fostering grassroots solutions to challenging social problems. I'm Francia Garcia Hernandez, your host. Today, we talk to Latina leaders who have broken barriers in the private and public sector, demonstrating the wisdom, knowledge, and skills Latina women bring to leadership positions. As we often see, women can face uphill battles to success, despite having the qualifications, skills, and experience they need. So how are Latinas breaking down barriers and empowering the next generation? We talked to a seasoned elected official and a rising corporate leader to learn more. First, we meet a young Latina empowering emerging and seasoned professionals in your neighborhood. In the 1920s, women started entering the workforce. Today, 79 million women work. That's 47% of the workforce population. Yet, women face mounting challenges climbing the corporate ladder. For Latinas, the climb is even steeper. Only 1% of Latinas are in top executive positions, making them the least represented group in corporate America, according to a 2023 Lean In study. Latinas earn only 58% of what non-Hispanic white men earned in 2023, an American Association of University Women report shows. I'm in Pilsen with Erika Casillas, a successful young professional, Latino champion, and the first in her family to go to college. She is the proud daughter of Mexican immigrants, and not only has she succeeded in corporate America, but she is helping other Latinos make their way. Erika is the regional director for the Chicago chapter of the Association of Latina Professionals for America, financial manager at pharmaceutical company AbbVie, and a 2022 Negocios Now 40 Under 40 awardee. Erika, welcome to Presente. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about your early days. I know you were the first in your family to go to college. So take us back to when you were in high school, thinking about what came next and thinking of applying and going to a university.
I always knew that I was going to go to college, but I didn't have a plan. Like, I knew that going to college for me is what meant being successful at the time and trying to, advance my family and my generation. Thankfully, I can say that I had a lot of support in high school. I had my high school junior math teacher to thank for. She was very inspirational. She was also an immigrant from Asian background, and she talked about how, as high school, as a junior, how important it was to be successful for college. So I had her to thank to kind of set me on a path. Outside of that, I don't think anyone in my family ever really talked about it. I am kind of in the middle of grandchildren, and so my cousins, no one else went to college. No one ever really set that path forward. So I had to be the one to really set myself up for that once I decided that that's what I wanted to pursue. And then another kind of coincidence that happened was that I attended a math camp, again, because of my math teacher. She told me hey, you should look into this program, and it was a program at Illinois State University. And so that's kind of how it happened. I applied to all of the schools in the area that had actuarial science as a major because of that math camp, because of my math teacher. And then thankfully U of I accepted me, and so then that's kind of how I landed going to University of Illinois.
So was there anything there that you had to figure out or overcome, any challenges or any opportunities that presented them?
Yeah, so because I was the first, it wasn't you're gonna go to college and do whatever your passion is. It was go to college so that you can get a job afterwards. I decided that actuarial science wasn't for me mid-semester, and I was I like math, but not that type of math.
Same.
So then I transferred over to the College of Business, and then I pursued a degree in accounting, but again with the mindset of I need a job after college.
In your role at Alpha, you help a lot of new college students young professionals, emerging professionals find their path and find ways to succeed and get ready for corporate America, which is for many a new experience or one they have no reference. Tell us a little bit about those initiatives and the programs that you spearhead there.
So I stayed involved with the Chicago Professional Chapter, and the initiatives we do there is mainly for first-gen college graduates, first-gen corporate America, people in corporate America. And some of it, honestly, it's just getting resources out there. I find that, Latinos, maybe it's a stereotype or generalization, but Latinos are hardworking, because it comes from our background, because our parents, our families came here to survive. At least in my experience, I don't know anything else but being hardworking. But sometimes hardworking only gets you so far, and you need resources and tools and stuff to work smarter, not harder, to get you where you need to be. So we'll do events when it comes to communication skills, interview skills, how to set up your resume, and how to, it's little things like this that maybe we don't have someone else in our family to tell us, but we have our Alpha Familia to be able to advise us, people that have already gone through it, people that are going through it now, and we're trying to help the next generation grow.
In your experience and from talking to so many Latino professionals, what are some of those extra skills or extra competencies that Latinos can bring, and Latino women especially?
Latinas tend to wear multiple hats and be able to shift constantly. And as I would say, as an eldest daughter of immigrant family, I've had to not only be a daughter, but a third parent, a translator, organizer, a family vacation planner. And so I think Latinas, we just grow up being able to switch roles very quickly and very agile. And to me in the workforce, I've been able to do that. And I think I just carry that from, again, life experience versus job professional experience. And I think a lot of Latinos as well have dealt with the same thing.
Yes, it's similar experiences. What does your family think when they see you? You've overcome those challenges. You're not the young Erika who was trying to figure out how to survive after college, but now you're a mentor, you're a finance leader in a big company, you're climbing, you're getting recognition. How does your family feel, and how do you feel?
To me, sometimes it's unreal when I get nominated for an award or highlighted, or even internally at my job, I have a sponsor currently, and he's a very senior executive leader, and to me I question myself more than he questions me, and so to me it's still working on believing myself and being able to accept I am making it, I'm achieving what I want to. So I think personally it takes a little bit more, but to answer your question, I think my parents are proud, and I do try to bring them along the way in any way I can.
Rising leaders like Erika Casillas are not only empowering other Latinas to become successful professionals. Through organizations and associations like Alpha, Erika is helping Latinas and Latinos succeed in college and join corporate America, fixing part of a broken rung in the corporate ladder. Next on Presente, Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Iris Martinez, will discuss if the political field has leveled for women since her first run for office, and what challenges Latinas continue to face.
I'm Ricky Watson, and I'm inviting you to join me for the new CAN TV original program, Critical Conversations. Each month, I'll share space with special guests who, like you and me, are on their journey of self-discovery and deeper understanding. Join the conversation on CAN TV, cable channel 19, or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app. Elevated conversation and storytelling. Experience the power of community television.
You're watching Presente, where we speak with leaders who lift our communities by nurturing solutions to challenges. In today's program, we're talking to Latinas who have broken down barriers and emerged as leaders in the public and private sectors. Joining me today is a seasoned leader and the first Latina elected to the Illinois State Senate, Iris Y. Martinez. She's near the end of her term as the clerk of the Cook County Circuit Court, where she oversaw the largest circuits in Illinois, as well as one of the largest unified court systems in the world. Throughout her career, Clerk Martinez defied political conventions, ran successful independent campaigns, and paved the way for other Latinas in Chicago to be in office. Today, she tells us all about this journey and what challenges still persist. Clerk Martinez, welcome back to Presente. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, so thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited just to share, my final days and share my perspective on my experience in the last 45 years in public service.
That is amazing. So if you don't mind, let's go back in time and let's go back to when you first started running for office. What motivated you to run then?
I think when you grow up in a community like Humboldt Park, as a young girl, you see a lot of challenges. In school, when I was in high school, I was very involved with the newspaper. I was very involved with, with student council. So I was always involved in issues relating to the school, challenges our students have as a student myself. And I've always was very involved in all those kind of issues. So when after I graduated, I worked with my father, who happened to work for Human Services at the time. So I did a little bit of work at the Human Services office in Humboldt Park. And I think that really gave me my calling about wanting to continue to work and be the voice for so many because of the challenges that I saw among people in my community.
Okay, and you were a trailblazer. You were the first Latina elected to the Illinois Senate. That's in 2003, so almost 21 years ago. I think that in itself is an accomplishment. But when you were running for office at the time, was that a run that was welcomed by the political establishment? Did you face challenges as the first Latina seeking this post?
Oh my goodness, when I first decided to run, it was because at that time, my mentor, Senator Miguel del Valle, who was the first Latino in the state Senate, I worked with him as a lobbyist. I was in Springfield working on behalf of the city of Chicago, where I worked for 20 years, and I was sent to Springfield, and he kind of encouraged me. He goes, you know what, a Latina woman has never ran. In the year 2000, when the redistricting happened, Miguel comes to me, he goes, where do you live, Iris? And I live in such and such area. He goes, it's going to be a brand new open seat for the state Senate and an open seat for the House. And I said, that's great. He goes, think about it. I go, I'm not thinking. I prefer to work behind the scenes. And he really convinced me because, as a single mom, I was worried about not having a job. How was I going to keep up with my bills and the mortgage on my home and my daughter, And so he really, worked with me in finding me the help that I needed. And then I went back to Mayor Daley and I said, Mayor, Miguel del Valle asked me to run for the first seat, for an open seat. He goes, that's a great idea, I think it's great. And I said, Mr. Mayor, all I want to make sure that it's win or lose, do I have my job back? Because I'm a single mom. He says, I am just honored to have you working in my office. Win or lose, you have a job here. So that gave me the comfort that I needed. So I went out and I knocked on these doors, and it was an experience, talking to women. Every woman that I knocked on that door in my neighborhood had my same story, single mom struggling in the community as far as finding affordable housing, affordable daycare, after school programs as a single parent. My mother had passed away, so I didn't have the support at home to help me with my daughter as a single mom. So, there was a lot of things, a lot of challenges back then. But I said, you know what? I've got to take a chance, and I was scared. I was really scared. And I remember the day after the election that I won the election, and at that time, I didn't get the support. I was actually threatened that if I ran, it'll be the last time I ever do anything. And so there was a lot of challenges because then they already had identified a man for the job, a Latino man for that position. So they never even thought about a woman. Here, Miguel del Valle, who was a state senator, Mayo, said, you know what, it's time for a woman. So he was the one that says, don't let them scare you, don't let them, intimidate you. And I said, you know what? I said, when they called to threaten me, I said, I'll see you at the finish line. That was only my answer. And God knows I had to work hard. I mean, trying to campaign in the middle of winter for the very first time in your life was very challenging. I've slipped and fell and hurt myself several times, in the icy rain and snow. So it was very challenging. But becoming the first Latina and seeing that, being that first person to take that oath in Springfield, when I took that oath for all the Latina women that finally, were here. And when I left, that place, over 4 years ago, when I left the state Senate, there was 4 Latina women already elected. And that shows the progress, even though I really feel that that's still not enough. We still should have more representation, and there should be a balance, and there's not a balance for me yet.
Yes, and that brings me to one of the points that I was going to mention, and I think you ran a platform that really resonated with the experience of a lot of Latina women, which may be very different from what Latino men might face. Even though they're also Latino, they might be living in the same household sometimes, or might have family members who are Latina, but they don't understand that experience. As you said, you were a single mom trying to think of a run in office, trying to represent your community, but also had to worry about what is going to happen with my daughter if I go to office and then I end up with no job, right? So I think you spoke to a lot of the challenges that people face, and that was part of the platform you ran in and why you were successful. But one of the things I know many women face is also that public scrutiny, that questioning whether people are running just because of their identity, despite their qualifications. Did you ever face that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you look at the qualifications, you know, born and raised in the neighborhood, dealing with the challenges, but being able to overcome those challenges, that's an experience within yourself. And that's the kind of voice that's needed in Springfield. When you talk about, you know, the fact of affordable daycare, affordable housing, affordable after school programs, you know, what do we do to make sure that our kids are safeguarded during the time you're at work? Because every parent works now, you know what I mean? So all of those things were important for me. And I found that sometimes not as important to some of the men, you know, and I say this in a very respectful way. We women worry more about these things because we are, you know, the homemakers, the wives, you know, the daughters, the mothers, the aunts, you know, you are the ones that are the caregivers basically of home. And when you are a single parent, you are making sure that the lack of having a partner at home doesn't mean that you cannot you know, reach your dreams. And, you know, I never thought about running for public office until that happened. And my thing was bringing my experience of that nature to the forefront and show other women that as long as you have the will and the experience of your challenges, that's what helps us overcome them when we talk about them and be able to run on issues or run, you know, for public office or run for anything or be part of a board or anything where you know the challenge, you're bringing your experience and your challenges that you've overcome to the table, wherever that table may be. And I saw that, you know, being the first Latina, seeing also that, you know, trying to run for other spots and everything, you know, sometimes for Latina women, what I experienced was having the challenge that sometimes the Latino men do not support you right away. And I think as Latinos, we have to learn to support each other, because if we don't, we're only going to keep losing our positions, especially position of power and positions of decision makers. And I've seen that hasn't changed, because it happened, you know, this last time when I ran and lost my re-election to the clerk. What I saw during that election was a very ugly, you know, sense of, you know, seeing a Latino man get up and second a motion to support a non-Latino with a non-Latino person making the motion. How do you do that? You know what I mean? How is that possible? But again, because sometimes I've always been very independent in my mindset. I've always looked at women or people that really have a sense of community, a sense of wanting to change, you know, be that change agent that we need in our community to make sure we're bringing and really exploring all the possibilities of bringing in more money, bringing in funding, bringing in resources to our community. And sometimes, you know, that's what I find, and I see this in people that I have met in the last 45 years that I've been in public office. Some people don't like that I actually brought women, you know, to the table and says, you know, you should run because I've seen your background, I know what you're passionate about. And that to me is sad, that there's no respect for someone like myself who's been around, who's been able to meet and know so many people out there and know what good leaders that can be running one day or take over my spot or whatever the case might have been, whatever it is, that we need to continue to grow our numbers, and we're not growing our numbers the way we should. And that's because we are challenging ourselves as Latinos, and we gotta stop that.
Right. As you're talking, I'm thinking of the many things you've seen, you've witnessed. You obviously have so much political wisdom, so much office wisdom. You understand how offices and state and county and city politics work. What are some of the achievements that you're most proud of?
Working as a state senator, I think that there were so many accomplishments there because you were able to be at the table. You're representing your district, you're representing the state of Illinois. No matter where you went, you were a senator. There was a lot of, I was involved in making sure that contraceptives were mandated insurance companies to cover all contraceptives. Something that never happened before. I'm very proud of that. When you talk about making sure that we're building new schools. We built a beautiful school like Aspira, that we bought this beautiful building, we built this beautiful building for our kids in our community. That we took the Puerto Rican Arts Alliance, and it was an old firehouse. I made sure there was some money, and today it's a beautiful, building with that actually showcases the art of our community. Those are the things that I say, that are needed for us to make sure that the people that are coming are not about their ego and about self-serving. It's about making sure that we are bringing people to the table that care about those issues, that care about that we're getting our fair share of everything, because we're behind. As a Latina that's been there for over, like I said, 45 years, yes, we have grown, but we still have so much more. But we have to stop challenging ourselves and start working more with ourselves so our numbers can continue to grow.
That was one of my questions, actually. Do we have enough Latinas in office? Latinos are the fastest growing population in the state. We have a contributing workforce, small businesses. Do we have enough representation to support the Latino causes?
Well, I don't think we do. I think we should be, looking at more. Take my position. I was the only Latina of the constitutional officers, the 5 constitutional officers. Was the only Latino ever in the history of Cook County, and we lost that. Why? Because I didn't go with the flow. Because I refuse to go with the flow. And like I said, seeing that sometimes our own people challenge, will go against you for a non-Latino, Latina. That really is sad, because here we lost it. We lost a office now, where a Latino was prominent in a constitutional office, the first ever to lose it, for the reasons, for political reasons, not because of the work that was done, because when I took over that office was plagued with so much, of corruption and things that occurred during the predecessor, and I was able to lay the foundation. I was able to bring our Latino numbers from, I think, to 4% to 25% now that are there, and we were able to grow. 75% of that office is women that work in that office, women of color. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm very proud. I had a beautiful cabinet, was very diverse, from Chinese to people from Vietnam, women, Latinas, Irish. We had the Japanese. I mean, we had a very diverse, for what is reflective of Cook County, and I think that is something that I feel very proud of, that I have an office that's very diverse, because of the fact that, look at who we serve, the most diverse, county that we can possibly live in. So to me, those are important, that people would walk in, see someone that looks like me, and be able to be comfortable, especially the court system, where people of color are the most ones that visit our office for whatever the cases may be, and it's really, to me, knowing that people were comfortable enough walking in, or having somebody that can actually listen to them in their own language was very important also, because that is what we have. We have a very diverse, county, and we have to make sure that we have those languages available in our county.
As you're talking, I think one of the most recent pushback has been, well, you can't just say someone's qualified because of their identity, right?
Absolutely,
and their racial
not.
identity. But you're also talking about improvements in service, and that's what brings value to these offices being diverse. There's better service, there's more understanding, there's a language barrier that can be overcome because there is a diverse cabinet. So it's not just about having these numbers, but about the value that Latinas bring, and about the knowledge, and about all of the different experiences that can be incorporated to improve systems that serve the public, which are tax funded, by the way. So
right, and the most important thing is, people talk about all these offices are patronage. Everyone in my office was approved through a Shackman, a director of compliance, that was in the office that had been sued before I got there. So we worked through that Shackman, director of compliance, making sure that people that were coming to the clerk's office were qualified individuals. These folks had to come up with resumes with backgrounds, educational backgrounds, because either master's degrees were being sought at. So when I look at my workforce and I look who we have there, we have people with PhDs. We have people with master's degrees. We have people with bachelor's degrees. So it just shows you that the quality of people that are in that office are people of high caliber. And it's really disingenuous when the media in the past has said that my office had unqualified individuals. I would put up a resume of any one of those individuals there to show that I was able to find Latinos and African American women and men who were qualified that we brought to that office, from the attorneys to people with doctor's degrees. And these are the people that we actually went to community and looked for them, not people that I had a list of, here, hire these people. No, we went through a process. So for the media to talk about this, that people are not qualified, I'm really bothered, and I will fight anyone for the individuals that were in my office that were brought that are qualified, and not because of the fact that they're just Latinos or that these are qualified individuals. And guess what? Yes, we have that talent in our community. We have to make sure we tap into it. And I don't think enough of our Latino leaders are tapping into the talent that we have in our community. And I think that's probably why, people say, you can be super controversial. No, because I fight for the things. I fight for the values of the office, but I fight for my people who are never given opportunities to shine. And we did that in that office. I mean, my cabinet members, I've heard nothing but great things. Judges that actually, are part of the system, they said they've never seen that office turned around the way I did in the past almost 3 years. I mean, because of what was there prior to me getting there. And I came in the middle of COVID. I came in December of 2020. So you can imagine that in 2021, trying to get that office up and running so I can bring my clerks back, so to make sure that we're in a healthy environment. The judges were all working from home. That's when Zoom became a big deal, and Teams. So again, there was so much that I had to put in place because the challenges already were in the office after COVID, and trying to make sure, and here 4 years later, I have nothing but success in that office. And the reason, I would say the only reason why we're not there again is for political reasons, because they were trying to shut me down in the work that I was doing and the people that I was tapping into.
And with that, I think we are in a great conversation and surprisingly out of time, but I think you just spoke to the reality that we are facing as Latinas. You can bring great value, you can overcome challenges, you can bring great talent. There is the talent in our communities, but there are still barriers that need to be overcome, and it starts with Latinos in our community.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your years of service, and thank you for all the work that you continue to do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bianca Cotton. Join me Mondays at 7 p.m. for Behind the Confident Smile as I sit in conversation with incredible, dynamic, and complex Chicagoans who peel back the layers, living lessons, the joy, and the pain behind their confident smiles. You can watch on CanTV 19, cantv.org, and CanTV Plus app.
Women like Erika Casillas show us it is possible for Latinas to build successful careers in corporate America, even when they're the first in their families to do so. Through her work as a mentor and resource for other Latinas and Latinos, she is fixing part of the broken rung in the corporate ladder. Nevertheless, companies still need to catch up on closing the wage gap that affects women, creating work policies that foster flexibility for women and men to balance their work and family responsibilities, and increasing hiring and professional development opportunities for Latinas. In government, trailblazers like Clerk Iris Martinez are proof Latina women can bring their experience and expertise to run for never-before held positions. However, they still need to overcome barriers like funding, public scrutiny, and unfair media treatment. Change is already happening. Trends show more women than men are attending college, and more women hold a place in office. From colleges to government offices and C-suites, there needs to be systemic changes that empower women who are ready to lead and step up. Thank you for joining us for the last episode of this season of Presente. I'm Francia Garcia Hernandez, your host. It has been an honor sharing space with Latina and Latino leaders who are actively showing up for their communities. They demonstrate we have the power to bring solutions to the table and inspire us to take action. Until next time.